Hey guys, I've got William here in Dallas, Texas, and he has finished the program. He's got a job offer, is already accepted. William, everyone wants to hear your story. Start off with a little bit about you, man. What's your background prior to pre-hired?
So I've been in technology for 15 years, but I've been on the side of turning a wrench. And I was helping a friend out doing some internet marketing and merchant sales, credit card processing stuff. And that's kind of led me to, I got laid off actually as a plant mechanic. So this is how it started. So I started kind of, I was good at sales. So I was trying to figure out what to do and just started searching online and found pre-hired.
Yeah, man. So you went from a very like manual labor job, like where you're doing. You even said, I've got a wrench or I'm a mechanic.
Yeah, fixing machines.
Yeah, fixing machines, and then you went into a little bit of marketing with that business, and then you decided, sales, and then you saw software sales. You saw pre-hired. You saw what we were doing. What was going through your head though when you found this, man? Because this is completely different from what you've done in the past. So what were you thinking when you found this?
Yeah, I didn't really consider software sales. And anyone that guarantees 100 grand, or you've always got that suspicion that it's not real or whatever at first. But I started doing research. I found a few other companies that were doing similar things, and I reached out on LinkedIn to people that had gone through the program and got some feedback from all of them, and kind of decided that pre-hired was people that went through pre-hired were happy and they all got jobs. So
that's interesting that you did that, because not everyone does that. So I love how, you're skeptical, because I really think that good salespeople, they have this optimism, yet they're skeptical. So they're like skeptical optimists. And I love it because you're like, okay, this sounds too good to be true, but I'm curious. I want to see if this is for real. And instead of just writing things off, you just did a little bit of research and actually reached out to real people on LinkedIn and asked them to share, and they got back to you, and it was good. So I love that you did that, because you would not believe how few people do that, because it's so easy to find these people on LinkedIn. So it's, you go to our website, go to our reviews page, like this will be there. They'll be able to find you. Like they'll be able to look up William in Dallas and find him on LinkedIn and talk to you or reach out to you, and hopefully you'll reach back out, since the other people did that for you, right?
Sure, of course.
So now you decided you wanted to jump into software sales. There's an opportunity to make six figures. What's something in the program that really stuck out to you, or that you just really blew you away, that you didn't realize, wow, this is sales now, as opposed to back in the olden days with the plaid suit selling used cars, or trying to trick someone into doing something that's bad, right? So what blew you away about sales right now?
I like the fact that using technology to kind of initiate the sales process, and instead of just picking up the phone and cold calling for 10 hours straight, there's actually a process now, and there's programs out there that can help with the sales process. So it's a lot different, like you said, than it used to be. So that's was definitely appealing to me. I didn't want to go to a call center and be hitting a cold calls for 12 hours a day, all day long. I was less interested in being like a telemarketer, more interested in actually being a professional salesperson. So.
Yeah, I think that everyone would probably agree with you too, is no one likes to be called by a telemarketer, and essentially, the only difference really between a telemarketer and a sales professional is that we make sure that we've got value to add to someone before we connect and reach out to them. Whereas a telemarketer just has a list that everyone's a number on a list, and we get pissed off when people call us and they don't treat us like a human. Like, it's like, hey, and then before we even say anything, they want to try to sell us something. Like, that's human nature to be upset about that, especially when so many things are like trying to get our attention with our cell phones, with internets, with ads everywhere. Like, everything is trying to grab our attention. Fake news, like everything we did. So when someone calls us and they don't know who we are, they don't even know if it's a good fit, what they're offering, it pisses us off. So yeah, salespeople nowadays, you've got to have a damn good reason to call people, so that they're not upset with you, but actually impressed and interested to talk to you. And this brings us to what you actually did, William, in the program, which I thought was really cool. Is we've got a system, science-based sales system that everyone follows. And William, you did follow it, but you actually did a twist. You kind of had your own little thing that you wanted to try out. And it's just like what we talked about is you made sure though that you were adding value. You weren't just treating people that you wanted to get a meeting with, an interview with, as another number. So tell us a little bit about your job search process. Like, what was that like for you, and how did you go about doing it?
Well, I'll step back a little bit. I applied for a lot of sales positions before I even found Pre-Hired, and I got zero response. I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't reach out. I didn't know why. So I was kind of like, why am I not getting any calls? Like, I put in all these resumes and all these things. What's going on? So in Pre-Hired, going through the program, it was the LinkedIn phase, or the LinkedIn section, that really changed the game for me. I went in, I changed my profile, that I was seeking an SDR role, and I just followed the system as far as LinkedIn and started connecting with different people. And as I was connecting, I noticed that people were reaching out to me. Like, before I even started the program and really got into the meat and potatoes of Pre-Hired, I was already being, saying, hey, if you're looking for an SDR role, let me know. And I would have to reply back, hey, I'm going through some training. I don't know enough yet, but I will, I'll reach out when I'm ready. And I appreciate you, reaching out to me. But, so I found that like really interesting. I was like, well, if people are already reaching out to me before I'm even ready, why don't I reach out to local companies kind of my own way through LinkedIn, and just try it that way. And it worked.
Yeah. You know what? It's interesting that you say that, William, because a year ago, it wouldn't have been that easy because we hadn't made a name for ourselves yet. Like, now that we're over a year old, like, we were just starting or a little over a year ago. And so people didn't know the name Pre-Hired or Science-Based Sales, but we do have now sales managers actively looking for people that have taken our program and looking to interview them. We've actually got previous members from last year and this year, this year, and just recently hired and promoted maybe this past month, actually going back to our members and actually messaging them saying, hey, have you finished the program yet? Have you been certified? Because I want to interview you for a job. So that is another cool thing that is starting to happen, and more members are saying sales managers are just reaching out to me. But it's not enough. And so they still put you in the interview process. So it's not enough though to just say, oh yeah, I'm in Pre-Hired. Like, yeah, they're going to interview you and grill you and make sure you know your stuff. So how did that go for you, man? Once you got your foot in the door, you got the interviews, but you actually just reached out to them on LinkedIn. What were the interviews like for you?
I totally bombed my first interview. Like, it was bad.
What happened? What happened?
I just wasn't prepared. I went in there thinking I was, and I wasn't. And I came back and was like, wow, that was horrible.
Well, at least you can do a self-assessment. That's great. So what did you do differently?
I got too excited. So and I went back to Pre-Hired, and I went through the interview part and just kind of like practiced on my own and went over the questions that are included in the program and got good answers to them, and develop my own set of questions that I need to ask them, and realize that I need to treat the interview like the sales process.
Yep.
And not let them take control and just grill me with questions, but kind of have it a both back and forth conversation, just like a sales, meeting would go.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm glad that you did that, because that's, it's a balance. Like, you still have to answer their questions, but at the same time, you do need to take control and guide the conversation in the way that you want it to go, because just like they're evaluating you, you're evaluating them. And I think that's just a mindset shift of like going from this mindset of like, where you said it perfectly yourself. Before I did this program, I literally couldn't get a job. I couldn't get an interview, or I couldn't get a job anywhere that I wanted to work. And now you've gone from scarcity to just a complete, like, outrageous number of companies that are willing to talk to you. So it's kind of like you got to be picky now. So it's like when you can be picky, you have options, you have more confidence, and you go into the meeting like, okay, yeah, let me answer these questions for you. By the way, I've got a lot of questions I want to ask you. And that, especially when you know what you're talking about, blows sales managers away. So how many meetings did you even end up taking, or what was that whole process like after you bombed that first interview? You went back, realized I'm going to do it this way, follow the system, learn this stuff. Then how did it go?
Well, I'll give you my numbers. So I reached out to the 6 people on LinkedIn. That's it. Just local companies that I wanted to work for. I got 6 replies.
Wow. 100% response rate.
100% response rate. Two of them weren't local, and they weren't interested in working remotely or anything. So they did reply, but it didn't turn into anything. I got four interviews. So the first one I completely bombed because I wasn't ready for a sales interview. Good learning experience though.
Yep.
The second one, the guy was not a nice guy. He had a bad attitude about it. He was kind of like, "Oh, so you went through a boot camp and now you're an expert, right?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my reply was, in sales, you're never really an expert. You should always be, revising your system and bettering your process. And his next line was, "Well, I'm a sales expert."
Oh my
God. This is
God.
going to be my boss. So at that point, like, I took control. I stood up and I went out to shake his hand. I said, I don't think this is a good fit. I appreciate your time.
Wow. Dude,
I walked out.
I love that you were able, oh my gosh, I love that you were just able to stand up and walk out of there like, I don't want to work for a sale. I don't care how much money they're offering. That's not the type of person I want to work for. And that's the wrong mindset. I love that you just
the best part is when he called me back and he apologized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, you impressed me, man. Wow. Like, I bet that shocked him. So he called you and apologized and said, wow, what was that like?
He called me and he's like, you know what? I apologize. Do you want to, I'd like to speak to you again, and have another meeting. What about Tuesday? He tried to set up a time. And I said, you know what? I have another interview at that time, but I'll call you back and let you know. And I never called him back.
Yeah.
but it was kind of like I don't think he's never been walked out on an interview like that. So I kind of showed him like something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what you did, so here's what happened for everyone watching. What you did, William, there is you showed him that so he basically, you came in with confidence and humility. You had a coupling of humility and confidence, and I think that is the best attitude and mindset to have if you're going to grow in anything. It doesn't matter if it's sales, but if you can go in and show someone that you're confident in who you are, but also humble enough to take correction and to say that I'm always willing to grow and I'm never arrived beyond correction or beyond learning, that is the person that will go far. And then you ran into a manager who obviously maybe he's just trying to make himself, maybe he was just nervous. He could have been a young manager, a new manager. Who knows? Like, and he could have just come off trying to like be impressive, like I'm an expert, like maybe, but that came off the wrong way and it made him look really bad. And you knew you don't want to work for someone that's like that because they're not going to help you grow. That they're not going to help you. Like you don't know.
It made him go back to his office and go, "What just happened?"
Yeah, you know what? He's probably not had many people do that. Many people would probably just kind of like let it go and then. Who knows? I mean, but you know what? I want to give that manager a benefit of the doubt. Like maybe he does have a really bad managing style, and if they do, guys, you don't want to work for people like that. But you know what? Maybe he's just an immature manager that was nervous because you would not believe how many managers that are younger, and when I say younger, not age, but in experience of being a manager, when they don't have that much experience, they make mistakes and they're nervous sometimes, maybe just as much as you if they're a newer manager. Because they're like trying to make sure that because their job is to sell you too. They're supposed to get top talent there, and he just bombed at getting top talent. Because dude, you've got so many opportunities. So he basically maybe he can get the C players to accept his crappy level of like the way I'm going to act. But when he ran up against an A player, you knew immediately to walk out. And he's like, "What just happened?" So I love that you came back to you, man. That's so cool. So. The next one though is that the one? Was this the one, or what happened after that?
The next interview went great. I got an offer there. The commute was just almost an hour.
Wow.
Both, so it'd have been like an extra. It was just just a geographic thing, really. I mean, it was a good team, good company. It was just sitting in rush hour all day. So I didn't blow them off. I kind of strung them along a little bit, but I got another interview for a local company that's 3 miles away that's doing good things. I graduated with the owner.
Wow.
He doesn't know me. I don't know him either, but just we're from the same high school and he's doing big things. And it was a great team and a great experience in the interview. And everyone I met, they're currently building their sales process. So I kind of introduced a lot of pre-hired and gave them total credit for everything. I'm like, I'm not an expert. Let me show you kind of the pre-hired program and what I've been going through and what I've learned, and they were super impressed, and it just worked out. So
That's awesome, man. So you showed them what you've learned in science-based sales and said, hey, listen, I'm not an expert, but I do know how to do this. And let's try to do this. And what's the role? What's the company? What's the perk? Like, tell us about this role. Like, what are you stepping into?
So I'm stepping into a business development representative.
Okay.
So they are their name is Citricom. They're in North Dallas area.
Okay.
And they do PBX phone systems. So they sell hardware, but they also have technology that monitors PBX phone systems and switches them automatically where there's call degradation and stuff, so there's no interruptions in service and things like that. They're kind of in that niche. So yeah, it's a good company, and I'm happy.
All right. And then what everyone wants to know too is as far as the compensation, the perks, and all the things that come with the job, is it what you wanted?
Compensation is what I wanted. It's right on par with everything pre-hired as promised, and I found it's kind of not a startup. They're doing good money every year. You know, they've been around for 8 years.
Yep.
So they're doing good. They've hired somebody to come in specifically to help them grow this year.
Yep.
So they're a growing company. The opportunity is there. I'm hoping to, bring in some of the pre-hired stuff that I've learned and pull from other sources and stuff and kind of help them develop their sales process and hopefully grow with them.
Yeah, man, you're in an exciting opportunity right now. And, maybe 3-6 months from now when you're promoted and helping to run the team, you'll have some other people who've been through pre-hired watching your video like, oh, I want to reach out to William. I want to work for William. And then
I'll be calling you for help.
That's awesome, man. Well, the last thing I want to ask you is, William, obviously this worked out really well for you. What would you say to anyone, though, that's still on the fence about pre-hired and they just haven't made a decision on what they want to do, but they're kind of maybe nervous just about stepping into software sales, but it's something they've been considering a long time? What would you say to them?
If you're not serious about it, don't do it. Really, it's not a get-rich-quick thing. It's not like you sign up and, jobs are just going to fly at you. It takes work. Like I was practicing in the mirror for interviews and going through the system and taking notes and actually learning it and actually doing it. I mean, you can't just buy the program and expect it to just work miracles for you. You actually have to care about it and put in the work and just be persistent and be serious about it. And if you're not serious about it, with anything in life, if you're not serious about it, it's not going to work out for you. So just taking it seriously, following the program. I don't necessarily recommend doing what I do and just cold outreaching through LinkedIn or anything like that. Follow the sales process, because that process you will be doing in your job. So it's one of those things that's important for you to learn and do. And I don't have any complaints or anything. I don't know if you see my shirt. It says, "Don't quit."
I love it, man. That is great advice. Guys, I got to just comment on that. William gave you some incredible advice. If you decide you want to do anything in life, do it. But if you don't want to do it, don't. Just make a decision and go with it. I think that's the biggest problem with I think my generation, millennials, like just the world, and the millennials represent a large part of the workforce now. But even younger folks and the older folks, we all sometimes like to keep our options open, but really make a decision on what you want to do and commit to it, because you do have to put in the time. But you know what, guys, it's not that much. And we've got people in their 60s doing this program that tell me before the program, I don't really know how to use the internet that well. They literally called it the internet. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just talk about it real quick. And I was like, okay, well, you do know how to use Google, you know how to use Gmail. All right. If you are a quick learner, if you think you can learn, if you're taught step by step, we can help you. But guys, so we've got people all ages doing it. So great advice, William. If you're willing to put in the work, 40 to 50 hours learning the program, and then about 6 weeks of using the system, following the sales system, you're in good hands. But if not, don't apply. Don't even talk to us, because you're going to waste your time and your money. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. And William, thank you for sharing your story with everyone. I know it's going to help a lot of people.
Appreciate it.